they approached me first, okay, to be like the centerfold. I'm not going to say they begged me, but they were very persistent. What's happening? I'm Bruce Harris, and welcome to Season 2 of Chex Play. I have a wonderful guest today. His name is Nicholas Murray. He and I worked together several years ago in the casino industry. He is now in the casino industry still, but he's also the founder and president of My Muscle Pro. We're going to be talking about a very serious topic today, mental health and suicide prevention. Before we get into that discussion, let's hear a word from one of our sponsors, Unity Surveillance. We'll be right back.
Unity Surveillance Solutions. For end-to-end security and surveillance solutions, you need Unity Surveillance. From manufacturing advanced hardware to developing customizable software, Unity Surveillance makes surveillance simple from decision makers to operators. Contact info@unitycore.us. Enter promo code CHEXPLAY.
Hi, I'm Bruce Harris, and as I said, I'm here with Nicholas Murray. I'm going to introduce to you in 1 minute. But first, I need to tell you, this subject is a very, very deep topic. It's very serious, and it deals with mental health and some of the crises that are happening right now, not just in the United States, but worldwide. So I just want to warn you, we may discuss a few things that may be sensitive for you to hear. But in the meantime, please allow me to welcome Nicholas Murray. Good to see you, man. How you doing, man? You're looking good.
You as well, man. I'm digging the shirt, man.
I'm not going to tell you what I have down on the bottom, you know.
No wear pants to these things anymore, man. All my friends that do Zoom meetings all the time are like, oh, why would you do that?
No, exactly. So it's good to see you. You doing okay?
Yeah, man, I'm doing well.
Yeah, thanks for hanging out with me today and on Text Play with Bruce Harris, and I'm watching you. You're catching my eye, man. I'm saying you all over the place, man, with Mind Muscle Pro. You got to tell me all about that. What's going on, man? Give me some background about that. How'd you get into it? And what's all the arms and legs to this whole process and this beast? I know there's some sensitive areas there, so feel free to talk about anything you like, and it's all yours.
We're all in at this point, Bruce. I don't have I don't think there are sensitive areas anymore, man. We've been pretty transparent since we started this project, and yeah, the more we do it, the more we just kind of open about everything, and that's kind of where it gets its power. I started Mind Muscle Pro officially 3 years ago. I went through many, many years of pretty severe depression, and addiction, and I got really caught in the mental health field. And you know, since I've found some real peace and happiness in a better way to live, I've thought a lot about that and about the people that are still in a dark place. And I wanted to do something to contribute to helping those people, and giving them some of the tools that I wish that I had when I was in a dark place. So, it's evolved into a nonprofit that we really focus on helping people find healthy avenues to heal and get through dark times.
And how's it going so far? I know that you just mentioned, your nonprofit status, your 501c3. Congratulations on that.
Thank
So
you very much.
you're welcome. So is it? I read some of your bio where you mentioned about finding your gym. Your gym sort of helped you to get over certain things or get you into the right mental space to support what you felt was, I guess, therapeutic for you. Is that, and I'm going to just say this too, in no way me as a hosting this podcast want to portray as some person with a background in mental health, because we're going to talk a little bit about those things today, and suicide and so forth. But no way, in no shape or form, am I trying to uh, come across as if I have knowledge or an education in that field. I do not. I do have an education and knowledge of my life, and I'm probably one of the 12.2 million adults in the United States that may have had suicidal thoughts at one time, or another. So I do have a responsibility to say that if we talk about things that have a trigger to somebody that might be listening, to shut it off, shut this off. But I think what I did learn is that talking is good. Having a conversation is one of the best things to do, and is not taboo. And that we will be scrolling numbers and podcasts and websites to support people that people can call if they need to. But we're going to have that on the screen as we're talking. So, but your 501c3, let me just go back to that now, and your gym that is sort of therapeutic for you mentally. Tell us about that if you could, if you don't mind.
Absolutely, man. And I appreciate you saying all that, man. For myself personally, I've been in this game for a while, so there aren't things that trigger me, but there are a lot of people that, we've had to navigate that as well when we do interviews about there's certain subjects that people might bring them to a place that they don't want to be. So I appreciate you saying that.
Mm-hmm.
So finding my gym, and that's what we tell everybody on this project that we interview. We're trying to help them find their gym. It might be through music, it might be through art. We go through to various businesses. We interview musicians, anybody that's found a way of healing. The reason that I started doing that was I had, as I said before, I had several years, many years really, from the time that I was a pretty small child, and it evolved into my teen years and in early adult life. I had pretty major depression, and I had several suicide attempts. Mm. When you try to end your life, they put you in a place that you can't get out of. It's a jail in some ways, and it's supposed to be to protect you from yourself. But in those facilities, I was given medications, man. They didn't do a lot of what I would call therapy. You talk to people, but it was mostly kind of just numbing you with medications. One of the things that I did experience in a state mental hospital, psychiatric hospital, was there was a gym. And once a week, we had literally a personal trainer that would bring us down to that gym. And the therapy I felt while I was lifting weights, and I knew nothing about lifting weights at that point, was incredible. And it stuck in my mind because medication didn't do anything for me. For some people, it can be helpful. For a lot of people, and also in my experience, it numbs the problem. You still have a problem that exists, and it still needs to be solved. So fast forward a little bit in getting out of mental hospital. I'm sorry. We got to be politically correct now, and
sure.
I forget, I mean no disrespect to people, but getting out of psychiatric hospitals, I over and over went back to what I knew, which was addiction and self-medicating. That again is numbing the problem, with illegal substances, ones that made me feel better than the stuff they were giving me legally.
With legal or illegal substances?
Illegal. So that's what I would revert back to.
Okay.
But what I discovered later, and by accident, reminded me of when I was in psychiatric hospitals. And that's in college. I had a buddy that convinced me to go to the gym. I was very much a heavy drinker, still using substances, still numbing a lot of what was going on. My buddy convinces me to go to the gym, and he convinces me again and again. And it turned into this pattern of this healthy avenue, and I started feeling happy, which is, you know, a really cool thing because it was by accident. I just wanted to look better,
Mhm.
look better for some ladies or something. It
Mhm.
wasn't nothing to do with mental health. But then it made me remember that the only good experience I had in psychiatric hospitals was the one day a week when we were in the little gym.
Mhm.
Um, there's something to this. There's something to physical activity translating into happiness.
Mhm.
And fast forward again to years later, where I'm at now, where I found some real peace and consistency, and not only in the gym, but also in meditation. And gosh, there are a million tools I have under my belt now. I surround myself with people that are positive in my life. I don't, go out and party all the time. All these little things have led me to a place that medication and psychiatric hospitals never did. So finding your gym is what we push out into the world with Mind Muscle Pro, and why we're trying to get people to take a look at all kinds of different things when it comes to their mental health. Not
Mhm.
just, we're going to put you on this medication, we're going to put you in conventional therapy. Those things don't work for everybody. And the bottom line is, we're quick to do that with people. We're not asking them, what's going on with you?
Mhm.
Why is life at a point where you don't want to be here, or you're too depressed to get out of bed? What we're doing with people is putting them on things, and we're numbing them. We're not addressing issues. And frankly, a lot of the mental health field is lazy. A
Mhm.
lot of doctors are lazy. They don't want to talk to people. They don't want to look at things that could potentially help somebody that might be out of their comfort zone.
Mhm.
People want a quick fix, and people that are suffering with depression as well. I know I got to a point where I was very much on a pity party. Oh, woe is me. My life is so bad. I felt sorry for myself. Other people felt sorry for me. None of that ever did me any good,
Mhm.
you know? And at the end of the day, I had to take some responsibility. I had to get out of my comfort zone. Like I said, it happened by accident, but that's what we're trying to push out into the world with Mind Muscle Pro, is that there are other solutions, but you got to put in some work. You got to take some responsibility for where you're at in life. People have been dealt terrible hands.
Mhm.
I've interviewed people at this point that have stories that make everything I've ever been through look like a cakewalk.
Mhm.
Nightmare stories that, I have trouble holding it together when I'm listening to them, because it's just awful what some people have been through. But those same people had to come to terms with the fact that this world is not nice. This world's not gonna do you any favors, and people feeling sorry for you in this world gets you nowhere. And at the end of the day, there is no magic pill. There's nothing that a doctor is going to hand you that is going to make your problems disappear. You have to put in work. And
Mhm. Mhm.
with all the empathy in the world for people that are struggling with depression, what I needed when I was going through it was an answer. I didn't need people saying, "Oh, that poor Nick, he's so depressed. He tried to kill himself again." That didn't help me. It
Mhm.
didn't help me at all. It kept me in that mentality of that I was too broken to fix. And now that I've found my power, I'm all about helping other people find theirs, and it's been so much fun, man.
Mhm.
And we're doing all kinds of stuff all over the country with amazing people that have experienced healing in so many different ways.
Welcome to You Are Comped. We help qualified casino players book comp offers with the top casino resorts and cruise lines in the world. Welcome to our office. It's in North Dallas. Welcome to Craig, Tyler, Katie, Jessica, Lexi, Elizabeth, Kale, Kale's cutout of Bob Ross, Asha, Natalia, Quintel, Jack, Delaney, and Joel. Tyler is a host. Hosts help casino players book new travel experiences. Welcome to Trio 360. It's a software we developed for ourselves and for casinos. It's pretty awesome. Kale, anything to add?
Trio 360 is a custom in-house CRM that allows our hosts to communicate with their players and...
That's enough of that. Welcome to Hype Videos. They advertise some of our upcoming cruise sailings. Very professional. Welcome to URComp's guiding principles of providing our customers with access, convenience, transparency, speed, and special service. Welcome to the team.
Welcome to URComp.
www.urcomp. Use promotional code ChexPlayPodcast. Have you learned through your experiences that there are tells that a family member, a close friend could pick up on these things? Because I know myself when I managed the property in the casino business with all the employees, I remember we had workplace violence training, we've had sexual harassment training, we've had training in a lot of different areas, but not with mental health, with all of the different employees that we had, to pick up on those tells. And I guess they come in so many different forms. What can you share about that subject with family or friends and recognition? And is there anything that you could share with that?
What you said is very accurate in that it comes in a lot of different ways. For some people, it's very, for me, it was very easy to tell because I got so addicted to drugs that I quit eating, I quit sleeping, I quit showering. So it was easy for people to tell, like, something's wrong with Nick, like the guy's not taking care of himself. I've met people before that happiest people in the world to the naked eye. Mm-hmm. I know people that carry themselves with making everybody laugh and being so kind to others, and then just like that they're gone, and they had silently suffering. And it's one of those things that unfortunately I think the only way to try to make sure people that we love are okay is talk to them and make it a normal thing. When I talk to my friends now, for instance, I ask them how they're doing, and I have a lot of friends that do the same. They're like, no, really, how are you doing? Not how's the job going? Like, are you okay? And I think it would have been weird to me 5 years ago, but now I'm surrounded with people that genuinely care about me and check up on me. And not everybody has that, unfortunately, but we can be that for a lot of people that don't have to be our best friends. I know just talking to people, I have a lot of acquaintances. I work with thousands of people. I have a lot of acquaintances that I talk to periodically. I like to talk to them in that manner. How are you doing? Like, how are you really doing? And it's amazing how often people will really open up, and some of them just need that too. Some people will tell you, you know what, my fucking wife left me. I'm going through this or that or financial problems. Some of them are doing fine, but there are some people that don't have anybody in their life genuinely caring about their well-being. And it's crazy to me because I'm so used to talking to people in that manner now that I'm noticing how many people are in the world that, for all intents and purposes, are alone and need some love and need some real friendship and need somebody to just say, how are you? But as far as a tell, I mean, very accurate what you said. There are people that have on incredible masks, man. I mean, for me personally, there have been a lot of times in my life where there were times after psychiatric stays where I didn't want to go back to that nightmare, and I put on a mask. I'm happy, don't lock me back up, like that kind of mentality. But it's so all over the place, man. I wish there was a consistent tell, but there in my experience there's not.
Like alcohol, there's that red, green, and red, green, and yellow, you know, whether they're intoxicated or not, you could tell by certain things. I know that when I mentioned about not having training, and I can understand you don't want to train a bunch of people. Now all of a sudden you have a bunch of quasi doctors on the floor who have no degrees and can make a decision based on their little training that they had that could be catastrophic. And I can understand that. But at least some awareness, that, hey, listen, here's the steps. And I can give you an example if I can tell you a quick story.
Please.
Working in the casino, I get a call. I worked a night shift as a manager. I get a call from a pit manager to say that a customer wanted to talk to me. Normally, before that, when that happens, you say, "Hey, what is it?" Because maybe they can handle it themselves. Because I might be tied up with something. He says, "No, she wants to talk to you. She didn't tell me she wants to speak to the manager, whoever's in charge." I went down to the area and she pulled me to the side. She says, "Listen, you don't know me from Adam. You know, this was several years ago, and this was before the so-called Karens. You heard the term the Karen that points the finger and exaggerates." She said, "I'm not one of these people," and I don't know the term that she used. "I'm not one of these people who exaggerate and the sky is falling, the ceiling's falling, and all that stuff like that. But I'm a trained nurse. I'm an RN, and I work in this particular place or experience. I don't know exactly. I don't remember exactly what it was, but she was relaying to me that she's a professional in the mental health field, and that the dealer on the table where she was playing, that something was wrong. And she said, "Listen, let me explain it to you like this. Your brain and your there's a lot of wires connected," whatever she said. And I think I don't remember exactly how she said it, but she says there's some wires that aren't connecting there. I can see it in that person's, I don't want to say he or she, because I don't want to give an indication of who it was, because it was where you're working. I don't want to, she says, I don't want to, oh, she says, "I could see it in their eyes. I could see how they are not responding. I can see there's a glaze in their eyes. There's something wrong. You need to handle this. You need to take care of it." And she squeezed my hand. And so I knew she was passionate and serious. And I take those things seriously because I've had a lot of experiences where customers could have told me something. And I had some that were wackos too, that told me stuff that were just because it was their love interest that they were trying to get back at. So they were trying to, get them in trouble or something. And I could pick up on that. This lady was very genuinely sincere. And so before I did anything, reacted, I made a phone call to my boss. My boss said, "He called Kevin." He was a human resources employee relations director. And I did, and I explained it to him. He calmly said, "You know what you do? Get him off the game, take him up to the office and have the EMT waiting there and have them evaluate them. I don't know, whatever."
I'm surprised, Bruce. I'm sorry to interrupt you,
That's
but
okay.
you're making so often. I don't think people that haven't worked in the industry, in the casino industry, realize I love my job, but that can be a very negative environment. And I'm glad that you're talking about this because
Mm-hmm.
it is something that needs to be addressed and it needs to be talked about. I mean, that's a difficult industry. I've waited tables before and it was stressful, but it nothing compared to the casino industry where you're surrounded by people that are potentially losing large amounts of money, people that are desperate, working weird hours, having anger and
Mm-hmm.
animosity targeted towards you, even though it has nothing to do with you.
Mm-hmm.
That wears on people, and I don't care what kind of money you make, it still beats you down. And if you're in a bad state, I'm so, but
Mm-hmm.
what happened, person?
No, no, I'm hearing you because it's rewinding a lot of things. So I got them off so they said get hit that person off the table. I almost said the gender. I say, "He, oh, hey, he, oh," okay. Anyway, got them off the table and took them up to the shift office, manager's office, and EMT was there, and they spoke with them. When they got off the table, they say, "What's going on?" I said, "No, are you okay? Yeah, yeah." And the whole time I'm uncomfortable. I don't know what to do. I'm just flying by the seat of my pants, and I don't like doing that when responsible for so much. Our responsibilities are massive, not just from the human side, internally, externally, and product and mathematical responsibilities with the games and so forth. So compact all that together. Oh, okay, I made $500,000 a year. Okay, so I earned it. Okay, all right. So the thing was, I got them walking and said, "Everything okay?" And they were like, "What's going on?" And and I saw the glaze too, but I think I always saw the glaze. The glaze wasn't just that day. The glaze was always. The glaze was when that manager 3 or 4 days ago was saying, "Hey, this particular dealer, they're terrible, man. I mean, oh man, they're making all kind of mistakes." It was the glaze, but nobody saw it. And the weeks before that, when somebody said, "Oh man," and it's blackjack, and you got to count to 21. Oh man, they don't need to be in blackjack. And we say, "No, give them a chance." I mean, oh, they'll be okay. And it was the glaze months ago. For months, the glaze was there, but nobody saw it. But this one lady, this angel, and got them with the EMT, and the EMT recommended that they go home or something. I don't know. They sent them somewhere. I didn't ask because now it's personal, and there's the I forget the name of the protection and health care. It's going to come to me. That happens all the time when something
Nope.
I want to recall something and it doesn't. It's not right there. It'll come to me when the podcast is over. It'll come to me tomorrow.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they left, and I didn't think of it. I wrote in my notes report, shift report for the day and everything, and didn't think nothing of it because you have another 1,500 employees and so forth you got to deal with, and and then weeks later, while the shift is going on, before the shift is getting ready to start, I get there early, and the scheduler said, "Bruce, such and such wants to talk to you," and it was this dealer. They said, "Can I talk to you for a minute?" And there was no glaze. It looked like a total different person. And they pulled me to the side and they hugged me. And they hugged me in such a way, in a sincere, loving way and started thanking me over and over and over how much it meant to them. And every day after that, anytime I saw them after that, and that did something to me. It touched me in a way that I'll never forget. And I almost felt like that lady was the angel, but I kind of felt like I had a hand in that too, because I did respond that way. Because I wasn't going to blow her off, but I kind of could have, in a sort of way, blew her off by saying, "Okay, I'll take care of it," but not follow through because something else could have been going on that I thought was more important because I didn't believe her. Anyway, that's the story there, but more training in these, not just the casino business, all businesses that touch it. So you're not not the FedEx worker that goes back and shoots up the place, because they were fired, because those are the top things, right? That people snap. What are there's a couple things that people snap: financial, they lost a loved one, lost in their family, a physical condition and trauma, suffering, and broke up, a spouse leaving them or something. Those are the things that people take them to the edge, right?
Absolutely. I mean, and also we see it in first responders, police officers. Well, you've covered trauma, but people that have fought overseas for the country and
Mm-hmm.
have dealt with horrific things that have to carry it and don't get the proper.
PTSD. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you, Bruce, you are an angel in that scenario because a lot of people are very much conditioned to react to things regarding somebody's mental health as not a priority and not important. And that when people step up, that's why dialogue about this is so important,
Mm-hmm.
because we have people that still kind of view mental health as being a pussy.
Mm-hmm.
And it needs to be regarded as, it can be an absolute emergency when somebody's in that kind of state. And that also shows you how, like, this is a lady that has never met this person.
Mm-hmm.
And they're noticing something that it's very possible the friends and family of that dealer didn't notice. And that kind of story needs to remind us that we need to pay attention to the people in our lives.
Correct.
This life is easy, man. It's not. It's, I love my life, but it's fucking hard, man. And it's every one of us deals with internal struggle that no one else can comprehend. Every one of us, has battles on a regular basis. And once we start vocalizing them, and when we take things like that seriously, like you did, there's power in that. And there is, I would say that you're an angel in that situation, because I know a lot of people that would do the opposite of what you would do.
Well,
and not because they're bad people, but because they're conditioned to think about, oh, that guy looks like he's in, he's depressed. Who fucking cares? Get up.
Nick, to tell you, not to interrupt you, but in that sense, I don't want to pat myself in the back, because there were many times also that I did blow people off because I felt that they were coming in with frivolous stuff in my eyes, from my position, from my, crow's nest, I guess you would call it. And by the way, I was talking about the HIPAA laws before. I couldn't remember the term HIPAA. You dummy.
We've all been in positions where, looking back, we would have done things differently. But the difference in, you're talking about it now, and you had an experience where you very well could have saved somebody's life. And that's the difference. That's what makes people angels, man, is they recognize some stuff. Not that they've always been perfect with things, but that we learn from things, and we have the ability to absorb some information. Like we were able to see that this is a serious thing. People's mental health is as serious as their physical health. Like,
well, I'm talking about it because of you, though, Nick.
They say, "My God, we got to help them."
I'm talking about it because of you. If you and I weren't talking about it right now, talking about My Muscle Pro, and we called each other and started connecting recently because of the podcast, I wouldn't be talking about it right now. You're my angel right now.
It's this beautiful kind of cycle that happens when we start talking. And frankly, man, I've heard a lot of bullshit since I started this, and before it, especially, about, people talk about men shouldn't, we're supposed to hold ourselves in this strong, hold in and suck it up attitude.
Who told you something like that? Not an organization.
It's kind of, it's been part of society for a long time. And the cool thing that we've discovered with this project is some of the toughest guys I've ever met in my life, big MMA fighters, cops, veterans that have been on tours and went through absolute hell. Some of the physically toughest people I've met, that for all intents and purposes are, I'm sorry, for lack of better words, are tough guys, are starting to be in a place where they share their feelings, and they talk about what's going on internally, instead of, holding it in. And that's what destroys, that's why the suicide rate among men is way higher than among women. Really? In my opinion, and probably most people in the mental health world's opinion, is they're holding in everything that's happening, and internally it's destroying them. So when we let go of things, and you don't address trauma or bad things in your life, it's a war inside you, and eventually, on a long enough timeline, that war will kill you if it can. And That's why we see it all the time. That's why we
Yeah.
see, men ending their lives at ridiculous rates, especially men in the military. They, we don't talk about that nearly enough. The people that are country are ending their lives. Like their war doesn't end over there. Their war continues. And we have all these people online, support the troops, support the troops. But are we supporting them? Is that Facebook post saying support the troops really support people that are having a nightmare go on in their mind? We need to be addressing it. We need to be talking about it. And we need to help these people that are risking their lives for us. It's something that needs to become a priority in this country, and it's not. And we talk about small little changes in regards to the mental health of veterans, but they need to do more, bottom line.
The number of suicide deaths of servicemen, of veterans since 9/11, and I'm sure the number is skewed, but it was like, I think it was like 65,000 to 120,000 suicide deaths of veterans since 9/11. And if you think that the number of deaths from servicemen in battle is around 7,000. So there's far more deaths by suicide than in battle. So who's the real enemy here? Yeah, and not just, you said many organizations, um, in the fire department, the police department, air traffic controllers, so many first responders. I mean, I can't imagine. There's tons that I haven't mentioned. And once again, I'm going to just clarify again, I'm not with any background in this area whatsoever. I may not even I should not possibly be speaking on this platform about this, but or you, because we're not psychiatrists, but at least we'll start the conversation and with regards to mental health, because that is part of the problem. People don't talk about it enough. So I have a responsibility as an adult who lives in my body for all of the years and all of the different experiences. I have a right to express myself and my experiences, to share what you do with them. God bless you. We hope that it can help. With I can mention, the CDC saying that there's 3.2. I'm having a note here, 3.2 planned suicides, 1.2 attempted suicides, in the U.S. That's just in 1 year, and then there's certain age groups from 10 years old to 24 or 30 years old. There's other statistics, and it's just unbelievable. You see Matthew Perry, who just passed away, the actor, and he struggled for many years. And I was watching something about him when he had addictions too. There was alcohol abuse, and then there was medication. He said when he was through the years, if you saw him in the episodes when he was skinny, it was pills, and then other episodes when he had weight on, it was alcohol, but it was nonstop. I don't know if this just happened, and by the time this airs on Check Play podcast, they'll have the results of his autopsy. So right now they don't know, but it was a sad thing. He was a brilliant actor, well liked by the entertainment community, and he had written a book and expressing his experiences. And one of the things that I saw in his interview was how much he felt empowered, and it made him feel to know that he could help others like you. And how does that make you feel, Nick?
I mean, it's incredible to connect with my purpose. I think that's another reason a lot of people are depressed, is because they're not pursuing anything more. I think we all have dreams. We all have ambition internally. Like you're doing a podcast that's awesome. That makes you feel good inside. It makes me feel really good anytime I can offer any help to somebody. But I'll tell you the other thing that's been really magical about Mind Muscle Pro and this project is how much help it's given me. I
Mhm.
mean, connect with people, they're helping me on my healing journey. And a lot of the people we interview, we go through the process of what they're doing, because we interview healers. I mean, whether it's, you know, people that are using martial arts, or, you know, we've interviewed people that do cranial sacral therapy, therapy with horses, and we get to experience all of those things, and it's helping me on my own healing journey. And I feel incredibly blessed. Anytime anything we do touches somebody in some way or helps them,
Mhm.
I don't think there's a better feeling in the world than to know that you might have helped somebody, even if it's just in a small way. I think that's what life is about, man. I don't
Mhm.
think God put us on this earth to just accumulate wealth and,
Mhm.
you know, buy as many things as we can. I think we have an obligation to the world and to the universe and to God to be good to others and do what we can to make their lives easier.
The amounts of information that you're learning as well. I don't think they taught you cranial whatever it was in blackjack school. Well, what was that?
Every time we do an interview, Bruce, I'm humbled, and I realize how little I know in the healing world, especially when it comes to alternative therapies. I thought they were, when we took a trip to Arizona and we interviewed a whole bunch of people in the, you know, alternative therapy world.
Mhm.
I'll be honest, when we were going out there, man, I'm like, this is some hippie, like, oh,
There,
I don't
a
know.
little bit of this, Nick. They were.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Well, that and just like
Hey, if it works, it works. But
it,
there is some healing there.
I'll say that.
Mhm.
What is it?
There is healing there.
What I mean, honestly, absolutely. But I didn't believe. It's not that I didn't believe it. It was just so foreign to me when people talked about even things like meditation and definitely cranial sacral therapy and healing with horses. But after experiencing these things,
Mhm.
oh my gosh, I was blown away. I
Mhm.
mean, cranial sacral therapy, the woman that you know, even when I was laying down, like to start the therapy, I was like, this is
Mhm.
blown away, Bruce. I was when after the we went through the process, and I'm not going to be able to explain it, so I'm not going to try.
I was going to ask you, what was it? Because cranial makes me think about your skull or something.
Yeah, it's a moving energy. I'm going to butcher it, so I'm not going to.
Go ahead.
I'll literature, or I'll send you to that woman. She'll make you a believer. But I was blown away, and the same with the woman that uses horses to help people face trauma. All of it seemed a little ridiculous to me, but a
Mhm.
lot of it, and I wanted to try for myself. I'm blown away by all of it, and I'm learning so much, and I'm learning. And what we're trying to promote is that, you know, what my therapy is the gym. I
Mhm.
go and lift heavy things and put them down, and I feel good. I do
Mhm.
that consistently. My life is better. My endorphins are flowing. I'm a happier, calmer,
Mhm.
more at peace person. That's not the answer for everybody. And some people, they pick up a guitar and they feel that same thing I feel in the gym,
Mhm.
or art, or these alternative therapies that we were discovering in Arizona. And that's the cool thing about this project, is that we're getting to learn. It's helping us on our own healing journey, and hopefully along the way we get to help some other people a little bit as well. So it's, yeah, I'm very blessed
Mhm.
to have, you know, had this come into my life, and it wasn't a choice, man. I feel like God put me on this path, and it was out of my control, honestly, man. It was
Yeah.
just, I couldn't focus on anything but this, and it was a calling, and you can ignore that kind of stuff, or you can pay attention, and I'm very glad that I paid attention. That's the real way to happiness. You know, at the end of the day, relationships can fail, the job can fire you. If you want to bliss internally and some real peace in this life, you have to pursue something that you're passionate about. That's why I got excited when I saw you had a podcast. I'm like, yeah, like my boss's boss, and I had such great experiences with you. We talk. I'm telling you, Bruce. I'm not saying this because we're on your podcast. When I was in slots and I was a slot supervisor, we loved you because we called you over for people. You keep saying that you're not a mental health professional. Obviously, you've never studied that, but you've been in the casino industry, man. You know psychology. Very evident when we called you to over for disputes that we couldn't handle, because you would calm a person down that was crazy with us. It was like we would laugh in the office because we'd have people that were irate, and you would come and you would figure them out very quickly.
I probably,
And we're like,
I probably threatened him. I don't know. You know.
my favorite of all time, Bruce, is there was one guy we had, like one of those. It was either craps or roulette, and we don't know those games. You guys do, but they're slot machines.
Machines, yeah.
When there was a dispute about something that pertained to the rules of the game, all we can do is say, listen, it's, it voids all play. It's a slot machine. It's not real roulette. It's not real craps. And we had a guy that was irate and had been drinking. We couldn't get a word in edgewise, and we called you in. You walked over, and so quickly the guy starts yelling at you. And I'll never forget you. You said, well, you've been drinking. And he goes, I'm not drunk, or something along those lines. And he said, listen, man, we're both adults here. You're drunk. Now let's continue. And it actually shut him up somehow. It was like this Jedi magic. And I remember we were still laughing in the office when we went back, because we were out of ideas. We were like, we're gonna have to call security. And it was a high level player. And there's this, you don't want to piss people off that are
yeah,
people spend a lot of money. You want them to be happy. And it was magic, man. And that was my fondest memory of working with you. And also I was just thrilled when I saw that you had a podcast, man. I was like, this dude needs a podcast. This guy has a lot of living. He's been all over, and yeah, I'm
Thanks for
that I'm on here with you, man.
Thanks for saying that.
We are also sponsored by Pisano Destinations. Enjoy custom vacations in Italy and luxury cruises tailored just for you. Their motto is treat every client like a VIP, and that's why you get hands-on support 24/7. It's exactly what you need to enjoy a safe and relaxing, memorable vacation. Contact them at pisanodestinations.com. Use promo code CHECKSPLAY.
Can I share the story with you that I read?
Yeah, please do, man.
Okay. It was a story of, his name was Joe. Now, Joe was 17 years old. And it sounds similar to your story because the parents are involved. He was tired of the bullying that he endured in school. He was tired of the comments about his weight. And he was also tired of the violence in his Boston neighborhood where his brother was shot. Okay. And the bullying was so pervasive that he tried to unlive himself. Okay. So Joe goes to his father, Nick, here. He goes to his father and he tells him about his troubling things that he was exposed to. And like I said, it was so pervasive about the bullying and everything that he said, I need therapy. He goes to his father and says, he's 17. He says, I need therapy. His father responded by saying, Joe, we loved you. We love you, but we don't want to send you to therapy. People are going to think you're crazy. Can you imagine? So later on, he took a ton of pills. Thank God He just got a stomach ache and he survived. Now, fast forward 10 years later, 27 years old. Now he counsels young kids about mental health and suicide, similar to My Muscle Pro. Okay. He went through that. And I also read 18%, Cleveland, Ohio, 18% last year, 18% of their students in a high school in Cleveland, Ohio, attempted suicide. 18%. Now, the national average is 9%. 18%. And there was a study that said self-reporting suicide rose over 80% from the year 1991 to 2019 among Black children. Okay. Now, another point I wanted to bring, that the highest numbers were from low income neighborhoods. With the stresses and the racism and financing, all of these things, different elements are combinations of contributors to the mental health, stress and depression and all of these things in the society. And think about this: the pandemic and COVID. We probably still don't even realize the numbers that we're going to, the results of that period of time when kids were stuck at home. Social media has such a negative impact on mental health, especially with children. These numbers are like astronomical. There is a crisis, people. There is a crisis out there. And the number one thing that I keep reading about is that one of the biggest preventions is to talk about it, to have that tough conversation, forget the stigma. And this is an example, having a conversation with you, Nick, because my thinking was that I'm not qualified to have this conversation about this. I'm not trained in mental health and so forth. Shit. Like I said, I'm part of that number. What did I say? The 12.2 million adults that thought about suicide. Shit, I had a girlfriend in high school. Man, she was pretty. Anna, I'll never forget her name. She was so pretty, and we went out a few times. Got my kisses and everything, and this was new love for me. And she quit. She broke up with me because I'm still an ugly duckling. I grew up with the ugly duckling. I had no, that's why I became a musician, to get girls and everything. Man, she broke up with me. I was so hurt. I was gonna kill myself. I told her. I didn't really want to do it. I told her. I thought I would get her back. I took them 2 aspirins. Shit, I thought it was gonna be over. I thought it was it. Say, Hannah, I'm gonna die. Didn't work. But people carry that stuff out. They there's different folks who have, we're all not as resilient as the next person, right? You were resilient and you sucked at trying to kill yourself. So thank goodness, but you have a very, very loving mother. I'm not making light of it. I'm very serious about it, but people need to talk about it. You need to talk about it. And you know what? The other thing that I saw was, I mentioned firearms being 55% of the suicide deaths. Suffocation was like number 2 at 26%. 12% was by poisoning. Okay, so I'm sure that drugs came in there somewhere as well. And the numbers, the suicide rates increased by 37% between the year 2000 and 2018. 37%. It kept increasing. And between 2018 and 2020, it went down by 5%. But after 2020, it started going up again. So that's what made me think about COVID. And
COVID, the rates started to rise significant manner. I mean, to your point, talking about it is a huge part of, avoiding it and keeping people in a safe place. And that's exactly why the suicidal rates are way higher among men, is because there is a conditioning in this society that we shouldn't be talking about our feelings. So you got a lot more people that are holding things in that are men.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, it's an obvious, reason for the rates being so much higher.
Mm-hmm. Do you know what? I also saw that the the age of 85 years and higher. It was stunning to me. Where's my notes here? I had the years of 85 years and above are the highest rates of suicide, which accounts for 22.4% of suicides. The age of 85 and above. The lowest rates are ages 10 through 14. I know, so there's some demographics in there that flow with that, high, little, middle, and low income families, but 10 to 14 years old, which accounts for 2.8%. 2.8%, that's almost 10 million people. If you figure 350 million people in the US population, that's like 9.8%, 9.8 million people. That's a high number. Thank God for Muscle Pro, Mind Muscle Pro, and thank God for people like you, and thank God for more outlets and outreach programs. So we're going to keep talking about this. This is a very serious crisis that we need to address.
It is, and it's a very silent epidemic. And thank you for reading some of the numbers, because I don't think people have any idea. I think that it's something that is very hush hush.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even among parents, I mean, people don't want to, I think there's some level of feeling like you failed. Obviously, if you have a teen that is suicidal or depressed,
Mm-hmm.
a wife or husband, I mean, what did I do wrong? I think is what goes through people's heads. And it's one of the reasons it's not talked about that much, is
Mm-hmm.
because family members and loved ones of these people are asking themselves what they did wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And
Sure.
it has nothing to do with them. It's some internal battle that the other person has, and that's something else that we need to recognize.
Mm-hmm. This is more. It's so important that, once again, I get to learn. I just learned what the cranial psychosis, whatever that was that you mentioned. I have to look at the recording. This is an experience for me. It's a privilege for me to be able to speak with you, and I appreciate you sharing some personal details about your past, and that's not easy for everybody to do. But once again, that's part of healing too.
We connect people with various crisis lines. To once in a while, people reach out that are in crisis situations, and much like you've said, we have some mental health professionals that have joined us now,
Mm-hmm.
but they're really just giving us some insight. They're not people. If somebody reaches out to us in crisis, we connect them with crisis lines in the area that they're in. So as far as that, we have to make it real clear very quickly that there's a lot of people that reach out to me and we just talk, and but if somebody's in crisis, it's a different thing, and it needs to be addressed by professionals. Mindmusclepro.com is our website.
Mm-hmm.
And across the board with everything else, Instagram is where we put most of our videos, at Mind Muscle Pro. We have a Facebook that's just Mind Muscle Pro. A LinkedIn that's fairly new, that's Mind Muscle Pro, or Nicholas Murray. I guess I use that page the most there. The goal is to connect with as many people, and we don't want to be all social media. We're doing more in the community now, and we really want to focus on the one-on-one, connections we can have with people. Oh, I'll mention this too. We have free online. I'm a certified personal trainer. We have free online virtual classes. We're only doing a couple days a week right now,
Okay.
but it's a chance for people to train with me. Easy workouts, fun workouts, and it can help you just feel good. And you don't
Mm-hmm.
have to be somebody that's in crisis or suicidal. You can just, need a new approach to life. Also have Cheyenne, who's our director of operations in St. Louis area, that offers free dance classes. She was a dance instructor for years, and she offers once a week, sometimes twice a week, free virtual dance classes that you can do. We use Google Meet, not Zoom, but same setup. And I'm going to start joining those as well, because they've really urged me to, and they want to laugh at me, I think, because my dancing skills are pretty horrific. Because if you look at our interviews with dancers, I always try. It's entertaining for other people. It's a struggle for me, but as long as somebody's laughing, we're good.
Right. Well, we wish you all the luck, and we're gonna continue more conversations in the future, and do some collaborating with the podcast. And I'm going to be a guest on your podcast.
I'm excited to have you, man, because I know you have some amazing stories from all over. So we appreciate you, man. I appreciate you so much for having me on. And
thank you, Nick. Thanks so much. And remember, folks out there, Mind Muscle Pro, Nicholas Murray, we thank you for being on Chex Play podcast. And just remember, talk to folks, listen to folks, and just be aware. And this is a major, major, major topic that we need to focus on. Thank you so much.